What's good, everyone? This your main correspondent, Alan Taylor, and I'm back in the broadcast room yet again, always with another one. And yes, indeed, it is another one. So we're here now. And this is the thing. This is, listen, look here, people. With all the crazy stuff that's been going on, cabinet positions being appointed by Trump, border czar situations going down, the women on The View acting crazy, things like this. This is getting wild out here. And we haven't been keeping up with old Joe Biden. And I think this is very dangerous that we have not been keeping up with Joe Biden. So apparently, he's authorized Ukraine to use long-range missiles in Russia. And apparently also as well, he's down in the damn rainforest kicking up trees or whatever he's doing out there. This shit is crazy. It's crazy out here. Okay, so we're going to go here now, and we're going to check this out. Quarters, nickels, and dimes, people.
Tonight, President Biden is in Brazil, where he became the first American head of state to visit the Amazon rainforest. He went there to highlight the dangers of climate change and the need to turn away from fossil fuels. During his visit, Biden also made a not-so-subtle reference to climate change deniers.
It's true. Some may seek to deny or delay the clean energy revolution that's underway in America. But nobody can reverse it. Nobody.
CBS's Willie James Enman is in Rio de Janeiro tonight with more.
Good evening to you, Jerika. Before President Biden arrived here in Brazil, he attended the APEC summit in Lima, Peru, and that is where he met his superpower rival, President Xi of China. Now, this is likely the last time.
Oh, hold on. Hold on. Okay, this is my first time seeing this. I saw the rainforest situation. So he met with the leader of China. Oh Lord. What is he doing behind the scenes? What is Biden up to? This is ridiculous here. Why is he meeting with China? And why the fuck is he giving Ukraine permission to use those damn missiles?
Time that both of these men will meet, and both leaders seem to address someone not in the room, Donald Trump, who's promised to take a more aggressive approach to Beijing.
These conversations prevent miscalculations, and they ensure the competition between our two countries will not veer into conflict. Be competition, not conflict.
President Xi cautioned the U.S. to make a wise choice as U.S.-China relations enter a new period of uncertainty. In a rare area of agreement, both countries announced only humans should decide when to use nuclear weapons, not artificial intelligence. President Biden will be here for the G20 summit until Tuesday, Jerika, and that's when he's expected to exit the world stage.
Okay, man, what is Biden up to out there? It definitely seems like he's up to no good. This is out the way right here. This is very dangerous, people. We got a serious problem right here. Joe Biden is going behind the scenes doing a lot of dumb shit. Talking to China, giving Ukraine permission to do certain things, all at the last minute here. This is last minute activity here. This is dangerous, people.
Hi there, I'm Phil Lipoff. We want to get right to our top story. We have major developments in the war in Ukraine. President Biden has authorized Ukraine to use long-range missiles inside Russia. Officials are telling ABC News at this hour. Ukraine has been lobbying, as you know, for a long time to allow the use of these kinds of missiles, but Biden has specifically prohibited their use since the start of the war.
Okay, so why now is Biden changing his mind to allow Ukraine to use said missiles? Come on here, people.
Marks a major escalation in this conflict, and it comes just hours after Russia launched one of its largest missile attacks against Ukraine in months, targeting power plants and energy infrastructure across the country. So joining me now to talk about this is ABC News senior Pentagon reporter Louis Martinez, along with ABC's Patrick Reevell, who is inside Ukraine for us. Patrick, I want to start with you. This seems like a major shift in the Biden policy right at the end of his presidency toward Ukraine. How did we get here?
Hi, Phil. Yeah, I mean, this is significant. Two U.S. officials have confirmed to us that President Biden has now authorized Ukraine to use ATACMS missiles inside Russia. These are long-range, powerful missiles with a range of 190 miles and very powerful warheads. And Ukraine has had them for some time, but has not been permitted to use them inside Russia for many months, despite pleas from the Ukrainian side to be allowed to do so, because the Biden administration has been concerned about escalation. Now, clearly, that has now changed tonight. I think there is one very important caveat, though, that we are seeing indications that the authorization is only going to allow the ATACMS to be used inside Russia's Kursk region, which is the border region where Ukraine seized a foothold back in August with its surprise offensive. We understand that is likely that there may be only the permission only being allowed to let Ukraine strike there rather than a broader authorization, which is what Ukraine had been seeking. We've heard a confirmation from one Ukrainian official saying that this is a partial green light, but not entirely what Ukraine was asking for. I think one of the reasons we're seeing from the White House why Biden has made this decision, in part, is because of the appearance of North Korean troops inside the Kursk region. We know that there are thousands of North Korean troops there taking part in an offensive with Russian forces trying to drive Ukraine out of the Kursk region. And it appears that, in part, this decision to allow Ukraine to now begin striking inside Russia with ATACMS was driven by the fact that North Korea has now joined the war much more directly, Phil.
Yeah, well, that is an important caveat, if that's what you're hearing from your sources, that it's going to be a partial green light. Louis, the timing of this decision is certainly notable, given that President-elect Trump is set to take the White House in just a few months. What are you hearing from your contacts at the Pentagon? This must be a bit confusing, especially in these last 2 months of this presidency.
Well, Phil, officially, the Pentagon is not saying much at all about this. They're not confirming this.
I bet you they're not. I bet you they're not confirming or denying. I bet you they're not saying any damn thing. And see, this is the problem. All these jackball moves at the last minute. What I mean, if he was going to do, why he didn't do it months ago? Why he didn't do it last? You know what I'm saying? The beginning of the year. Why? I mean, why now? That you've lost, and that your party has lost. Man, come on, man. Come on. These people are pushing buttons out here behind the scenes. And, you know what I'm saying, everybody walking around here like Boo-Boo the Fool.
Report officially. But one of the things that you can gather, as you mentioned, it's 2 months left in the administration. And one of the things that's really important right now is to not prevent this situation from escalating. Because as you have all this talk about potential peace talks should a Trump administration, when they come in very early on, then what are the benefits? What are the losses in terms of who gains territory, what territory must be given back? And right now, Russia has the upper hand in some of these areas, particularly in Kursk and other parts of eastern Russia, eastern Ukraine that they've seized. So potentially, I think what you're looking at right here is a tactical response. Try to push back the Russians as much as possible so that they don't make any further gains. Now, one thing to point out: these missiles can be fired from deep within Russia, inside Ukraine, and the long range will then strike inside of Kursk. So potentially, it's not that they have to be right inside of Kursk, or that they have to be right on the border. It affords a little more safety for the launchers. But I think it really is all about the tactics right now and ensuring that Kursk doesn't fall to Russia, particularly now that you have North Korean forces engaged. And this is already turning into a much broader conflict just by the mere presence of 10,000 North Korean troops inside of Kursk.
Right. Now, North Korea has already joined the fight. That they sent 10,000 troops. If that doesn't make you alarmed, I don't know what will. This is no game out here, people. We are on the precipice of a serious war here, which is bad for the world and also bad for our economy, definitely. And, this is something that Trump is actually wanting to, try to stave off. He wants to try to get rid of this. But with Joe Biden creeping his old decrepit ass behind the scenes, trying to, do certain things that, they clearly said for the longest he wouldn't allow Ukraine to use these missiles. Now, all of a sudden, a couple of months left in the damn administration. Now, well, okay, you could go ahead on and use them. Yeah, do your thing over there. Do your thing. This is ridiculous, man.
Yeah, Patrick, I'd like to get your thoughts on this. This decision coming obviously after Russia launched that most devastating attack on Ukraine in months. I'm wondering if you're thinking this had more to do with that the most recent attack or the fact that policy toward Ukraine, U.S. policy, might be changing in a couple of months?
Yeah, Phil, no, I think this decision probably was already in the works. It's unlikely that, the decision was made after this massive attack that we saw here today in Ukraine. It was one of the largest.
I really think that at the end of the day, though, low key, I think that if either Biden had won the election or Kamala had won the election, they was going to give Ukraine the green light anyway. So I'm thinking the reason why he went on ahead and did it was because he was going to do it if he had won the election. But at this point right now, his party didn't win, period. So he's just going ahead on and giving Ukraine the green light.
Largest attacks of the year. In fact, it was the third largest attack of the year, but it's certainly also the biggest attack we've seen here since August. 120 missiles, 90 drones fired across Ukraine, mostly targeting Ukraine's energy infrastructure, hitting power plants. We know that significant damage was done to a number of power plants around the country. Several cities saw blackouts, some because their systems were damaged, others because Ukraine has had to impose emergency shutdowns to try and protect the grid. We saw that in Kyiv. Obviously, it's timed because we are entering winter here in Ukraine. It is already cold here, and the temperatures are going to continue to go down. And clearly what we're seeing here is what had been feared, is that Russia is going to attempt to use cold as a weapon this winter. And so these strikes today are clearly part of that. But I think in terms of why President Biden chose to make this decision now, I think, as Louis was saying, it does in part perhaps seem because Russia is on the offensive, not only in Kursk, but all across the east of Ukraine, but in particular in Kursk, there is this major offensive involving North Korean troops, which was both a surprising and also very dramatic escalation of this war. And clearly, I think the Biden administration felt they couldn't just let it go past. But I think also, inside Kursk, we're seeing Russian forces slowly pushing Ukrainian forces back. And I think there must be some sense within the Biden administration that they want to try and hold that. But I think also here in Ukraine, there will still be some frustration because for more than a year, they've been demanding to use ATACMS inside Russia, telling the Biden administration that it's not going to lead to a major escalation. And now finally, we see in the dying days of the Biden administration, they've agreed to do so, Phil.
All right, so there is the decision to allow Ukraine to use these weapons that, as you point out, the U.S. has not given them permission to do as we supply a lot of these weapons. But Louis, back in September, Russian President Vladimir Putin said, and we'll quote this for you, if this decision is made, it will mean that NATO countries, the United States and European countries are at war with Russia.
Putin did say that. Sorry, but he did. And see, this is the point I'm talking about right here. This is how dangerous this is getting. Now, the thing of this is, instead of the Biden administration trying to pull both of these nations together and try to, come to some peaceful solution, they're steadily trying to dig off into getting more wars. They steadily want the war complex to go on and have its way and things like that, so the money can flow. I'm sorry, but it's all about the dollars. It's all about the damn dollars. And people are suffering, people are dying, people are being deleted for everybody else on the big wigs and stuff like that to gain things. This is crazy right here.
How do you expect President Putin to respond now that this decision has been made?
Phil, that's been the tough rhetoric that has really concerned U.S. officials, which is one of the reasons why they've held off on this decision. Yes, Ukrainians have been asking for this weapon system for a long time. And the United States has said, look, we don't have enough of them. The Russians have moved all of their equipment further away from the range of these missiles, so their effectiveness has been reduced. But one of the big concerns has always been the red lines. We've seen the red lines with the F-16s, with the M1A1 Abrams tanks, with the Patriot missile systems, and now you have these ATACMS. So this was the last red line. The question is the rhetoric going to be matched by even more bellicose language from Russia in the wake of today's decision?
Louis Martinez, Patrick Reevell, thank you both very much. This is obviously something.
Yeah, this is ridiculous here, people, and highly dangerous, man. With all this crazy stuff going on, we distracted over here. We got to also keep up with stuff like this. The 10,000 troops that have moved to Russia to help Russia, and also Biden just coming to this decision right here at the last damn minute that he's going to give the green light to Ukraine to use long-range missiles. Oh, Lord. But it is what it is, though. Shout out to all my subscribers. Mad love to y'all. If you're new to the channel, please hit that like, share, subscribe button. Make sure you ring that bell to be notified whenever I decide to post things. And like I always say, that, my friends, is the bottom line.